The Rat King is a character and a villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He first appeared in the episode Monkey Brains. After his final fight with Splinter, in which he falls off of a cliff, Falco is now deceased. Born in 1957 in New York City, Victor Falco attended the same college as Tyler Rockwell, who he soon became lab partners with for 33 years following their graduation. This partnership took a dark turn when Falco used Rockwell in an experiment assigned to him by the Krong that involved mutagen, a neurochemical, and monkey DNA, mutating Rockwell into a mutant monkey in order to extract a psychic neurochemical from his mutant brain. However, Rockwell escaped, and Falco reported him missing to the public, hoping that they would find Rockwell, who he said was actually a regular monkey being Rockwell experimented on in his lab, and bring him back to Falco so the neurochemical could be extracted. When Falco makes his debut in this episode, the Turtles have brought Rockwell to him, but when they find out the truth and went to stop Falco, he had already injected the chemical into his own brain, giving himself psychic mind-reading powers. He defeated the Turtles, as he was able to foresee their attacks before they made them. It wasn't until Donnie mastered the art of fighting without thought that Falco was defeated, yet was able to escape. Falco returns in this episode. He is seen at the beginning working in a laboratory, talking to himself about how the Turtles and his planned revenge, doing experiments with the mutagen and a lot of rats. He was able to bring back a chemical in the ooze that gave him his psychic abilities in monkey brains. Unfortunately, this all goes horribly awry when two rats are chewing on an electrical wire, which causes it to break and swing down onto Falco and the ooze. This causes an explosion and makes the ooze go onto Falco, giving him his psychic abilities back. However, since he was experimenting on rats, these powers became limited to himself, rodents and rodent mutants, formerly animal or formerly human. He gains the ability to control the rats' minds and see the world through their eyes, and now calls himself the Rat King. He is able to take control over Splinter and sends him to attack the Turtles. Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo are able to tackle him. Leonardo brings him back to normal using the picture with his wife and child, bringing his memories back. When back to normal, Splinter attacks Rat King and knocks him out with just 2 fingers. The Rat King is then seen being carried away by dozens of rats. The Rat King appears again, this time with a new weapon. An army of giant rats. His evil plot is to make an army of human rats like Splinter. So he sends out the giant rats to take some down to his lair. The Rat King again tries to use Splinter's mind. Splinter breaks the spell and defeats him by blindfolding himself, therefore blinding the Rat King. The Rat King tried to defeat Splinter but stumbled and fell into a huge smoky pit to his apparent death. When Splinter fell into the pit where fought Super Shredder, he was later surrounded by rats and was confronted by the Rat King. Splinter was surprised to see him after defeating him nearly 2 years ago. The Rat King later tried to make Splinter more rat than he has ever been. But Splinter refused to give in and defeated the Rat King and soon found his skeletal body of where he fell to his death and confirming his fate. Splinter then realized that it was all a hallucination and the Rat King is dead for real and good. Rat King is very skinny, pale, and zombie/corpse looking with dry and wrinkled flesh, decaying teeth, mostly burnt hair, and hypnotic eyes. He wears a long black coat and with a matching hat, bandages over his eyes. This helps his powers stay in control, and bandages on him in other places such as his arms. Falco was nothing short of a power-mad and reckless sociopath who was only concerned about his own goals. His highly psychopathic tendencies were nearly invisible due to his metaphorical mask of normalcy. He was a talented liar, a deceitfully cunning mind who was able to fool April, Donatello, and the entirety of New York into thinking he had no idea of his friend, Dr. Rockwell's disappearance. Falco was immoral, ruthless, callous, and arrogant, and so unsympathetic and uncaring that he was capable of kidnapping and mutating his colleague so he could perfect a psychic serum. Falco was massively taking sadistic delight in seeing Rockwell's pain, and during his fight with Donatello, he cruelly mocked him over his romantic feelings for April. Although in his past experiences he has had at least some, but granted very small level of decency after being mutated while trying to recreate his psychic serum, and is granted a telepathic connection to rats. Granting himself the title of the Rat King, Falco was a fully fledged misanthrope who began to see humanity as nothing more than an infestation, and as such took satisfaction in terrorizing New York. He would either mutate or kill any human in his path. Ironically, Falco's archenemy is the same person he thought was also his equal, Hamato Yoshi, who he tried to mind control, but in the end Splinter was able to defeat him. Falco completely valued rat life and was cowardly, left screaming in rage when Splinter had kicked his pet rat and friend, Aristotle, over a ledge.